what's up? How you doing? So for today's video, we're going to be watching news bloopers. I am a broadcast television news producer. Obviously, live news is my life. Bloopers happen, not like every day, obviously, but there's probably something that could make it onto a blooper reel, like at least once a month that I myself just see. There's gonna be bloopers sometimes because it's live TV. Anything can happen. And watching them is hysterical as anybody, even before I was in news. But I think now that I'm especially in news, I wanted to sit down and watch some and react to them. This was actually a comment that I got on when I reacted to the Anchorman movie. Taking this again, Mike Porter, thank you, commented suggesting to react to news bloopers. So I think this would just be funny to react to as somebody who like works in news, so maybe I can give some commentary. I pulled up a news bloopers reel on YouTube, and it is one that was in my liked videos from the beginning of the year. So I have seen this and obviously liked it enough to like the video, but I haven't watched it since the beginning of the year. So let's get into it. Let's watch these.
I'm so pale.
You're on it.
Today's snow is crippling.
Why would no one cue her? Why was there no floor director or photog or somebody behind the camera counting them in, counting them down? Was she just not, and also was she just not looking at the light? Because those cameras have little red lights on them to indicate when they're live. So I bet she was, it looks like she's looking off, I bet she was looking at a monitor off camera that was reflecting what she looks like, that was just reflecting the camera shot. And she was just like, and noticing that she looked particularly pale in that shot. I bet that's why she was distracted. But still, a floor director, somebody should have told her that she was going on air and like counting them down.
I'm ducking and everything, died in the house. I got scared. I dropped my hot pocket.
I feel like some of the best moments come from just random people you interview, because I'm not a reporter, so I don't go out and interview people for packages and VOSODs and stuff, but I do know the process. I have done it in college and in high school and stuff, and I hear stories from reporters. Because you just sometimes have to go up to a scene and just try to find somebody to interview. You need the sound, you need an interview in order to make your package or your VOSOD. Sometimes you can't get an official, or sometimes you, like, obviously the best interviews for information are going to be from officials, or if it's something happening to a specific family, you know, the family. But getting sound from just residents in the area who experienced whatever it is, like this might be a shooting or something. And a lot of times people aren't willing to talk. People don't want to talk to you as the reporter. So you just have to keep going up to people to try to get the sound. And so you just kind of get what you get. And that's how sometimes really funny internet videos go up, because that's what they got.
Over the last 2 years, hundreds have landed in the Summit County Medical Examiner's office.
My brother used to break in our house and steal the TV.
But now he's dead.
We'll probably sit around and...
Okay, that wasn't even live. That was, there's no excuse for that one. That was a package. That, like, the voiceover of the reporter means that was a package, meaning he chose that. He did that on purpose, and that's funny. That's hilarious. For that specific shot, that just makes me think of the safety training that we have to, like, we have to watch videos on, like, reporter safety for hurricanes, bad weather in general, flooding, protests, whatever. Even if you're not a reporter, you have to do those safety training modules. And that's just funny because I don't think that reporter did his safety training, or maybe he doesn't have to at his job. But in like flooding and stuff, it's very important to be on high ground and to not be anywhere where you could potentially do that. Gotta do your safety modules, dude. Come on now.
They know no, hold him tight. Hold him tight. Hold him tight. I am. Hold him tight. I am.
You got him.
I am.
That's okay. All right.
All right, Joni, you got it.
Oh my gosh, that reminds me so much of in college. I did this show called The Rise that was like a morning entertainment show that was pre-recorded. And a lot of seasons we would have this guy called the reptile guy come on, and he would have random reptiles on the set with us, and our anchors would hold them. And there was one particular time that we didn't put it in the show, so I don't have the footage of it sadly, but like Katie, not me Katie, our host Katie, a snake, like a python, was wrapping around, I do have a picture of myself with that python so I can show you how big it was. It was wrapping around her neck while she was like standing there listening to the guy talk, and she just didn't know what to do. She just sat there like that. So animals on live TV, always interesting.
First and last name, please.
Erica O'Donnell.
And can you spell first and last?
First-Last.
I meant your first and last name.
So that probably wasn't like live, that was just something that someone probably uploaded or something, because the whole asking your first and last name is just for the lower third that we put on whenever there's somebody on camera. So having it spelled out while you're being filmed is just something for the reporter or the producer, whoever's writing out the lower thirds. I'm very familiar with this process because as a producer, I write photogs all the time that photogs go out and get. I hear the very beginning, well, the first question is always, spell your first and last name and what's your title. And I've heard that dozens of times, but that is a first. I've ever heard someone just spell first and last literally instead of their name. That's pretty funny.
Nando, Mississippi, where there's been spottings of a cougar, and that's not it. That looks like a house cat, but we're just feet away from where a local man rolled his cell phone video.
I just know that reporter was so happy with that. Like whoever his photog was, say his name was Mike, be like, oh my gosh, Mike, there's a cat in the background. Whenever they come live to us, I'm gonna point to it, you're gonna zoom in on the cat. It's gonna look great, it's gonna be a great live shot. It's gonna add so much color to it.
Hello and welcome.
Also on Chef was
Again, another example of just poor floor directing. Poor floor directing.
Check your panties. About 175,000 rice. I think that was supposed to be pantries.
I couldn't warn you before I saw it, and I couldn't warn you, Eric.
That would be one that would be the producer's fault. Most likely. A producer probably wrote that story. And if they didn't, if they like pulled a story from somewhere or it was a reporter's intro or something, still the producer should double check that and read that and make sure it doesn't say something like that. So that's a producer knock to whoever was producing that show. One that's also like, I always double check it when I'm as a producer, because as a producer, you're the one that's writing whatever the anchors are reading, or you're at least, like I said, dropping in whatever reporters read. You are in charge of checking on the script, essentially, for a show if you're not writing it yourself. And if you are writing it, again, gotta double check it, make sure you don't have something like that in there. One that's pretty common, that'll come up, public, miss one letter, and it's pubic. Every single time I ever write the word public, I always double check it, because that is not one you want to mess up.
I told you if the sprinkler systems come on, I'm done for the day.
Yeah, that is not
sitting up here looking like a mop.
Yeah, you don't want sprinkler system and a beautiful weave because they do not go together. Oh, you're beautiful. You said it was a weave, right?
It's not. Oh.
That's Blaine. He's one of my. I don't really work with him that often. I've only worked with him a handful of times. But he works at my station. He's one of the morning anchors.
Bus, get out of the way! Bus! Get out of the way, Bus! Are you... What the...
Oh, I feel that photog's pain so bad. Because you know that bus was just stopping to watch. Oh man, that would have made me so angry if I was that photog. Because that's the money shot. Oh, the money shot just slips out of your hands, and then you go back to the station with that, and then everyone's like, what the heck, there's a bus in this shot, and the photog's like, I know. And then the other stations that run the story have a clean shot of it, they're fine, and you're the station that has that bus in your shot.
Jake is our producer upstairs, and
that was fun, Jake.
Josh is our director. Anytime you guys want to recue my man Zwang Schwang and just roll that, like literally, I don't care. It can, whenever you want to roll that in the show. God, listen, you guys are the best.
Bob is going to aspire to this now. See, because Bob, I think you could do this.
I think I could.
I think with practice you could do that.
Zwang Schwang.
And then I will start calling you Schwang.
That's the kind of moment that I'm always like, I want to know in the context of the show where that happened. I'm assuming it had to happen at the end of the show or like right before a break, because if you do something like that and then the producer next stacked has like maybe a more serious story, there's no coming back from that into a serious story. So then the producer's got to kill that. Hilarious to watch. Really throws off the producer's timing, because you do have very specific timing meters that you have to hit throughout the show and then at the very end of the show. And you have the show stacked a certain way as well that you need it to go. And just that kind of thing, I'm very curious as to where the heck in the show that happened. But it's funny. It makes for good TV. I applaud the producer for just rolling with whatever was going on with that, because it's hilarious. But I am curious. I would have loved to see the behind the scenes of that.
Yeah, you have to read this story. We should not. Oh my God.
Anchors are supposed to read stories before they go on air. At least a little bit. Like if you don't have time to read the full story, you at least kind of know the premise. You see the slug that's like inspiring pig or something. You know it's coming as an anchor, or you should know it's coming. So that must have just like really, he either must have not known, that story was a surprise to him, he didn't read ahead, or he just was really tickled by crispy bacon and his legless inspiration.
A man in West Virginia faces assault charges after police say he passed gas and fanned the officer. I mean, don't laugh. After the man was already arrested for DUI, according to police report of St. Cruz. I can't even get through this.
He passed the gas so loudly the officer said it was, quote, very odorous and created contact of an insulting or provoking nature.
Mr. Anchorman.
See, that wasn't even right. To put that story in there was wrong. That was wrong, man.
I didn't see it when I was looking through the script. He stuck that in there.
Wait, did she say it wasn't there originally? That might have been a producer doing that on purpose, honest to goodness. She was looking through the script earlier and that line of the graphic description of the fart was not there. Very, very likely that producer was just doing that to screw them up.
A family's Christmas decorations nearly caused one man a heart attack.
Please hold on. All right. Can you reach it? Can you reach it?
The man in Austin, Texas thought this dummy was a real person. Nest cam video shows the man rush over, grab a ladder, and call for help. He even called 911. The family put up the dummy to pay homage to a Christmas scene from a movie right there.
The Griswolds,
right? You know, Christmas Vacation. And they are trying to find the man to give him a gift because they say his heart was in the right place. Now, he felt it.
Oh, no.
He said, can you reach it? Can you reach it?
People say we only focus on the bad stuff in the news. Come on, what a heartwarming story of a man just trying to help.
Today is National Milk Day, a day I'm sure you have been looking forward to celebrating.
Milk, what are we going to describe? The script says to describe what milk is used for. So here we go. Milk can be in numerous things, like cereal. making a beverage. You can just drink it. Oh my God. According to the encyclopedia, pasteurization began in
still use encyclopedias.
Oh my God. Milk used to be pasteurized. It started in the 1860s. That's when they remove harmful bacteria from the milk.
Where does it come from?
A French chemist and biologist, Louis Pasteur. And don't worry if you can't celebrate. You got another chance in 6 months because that's World Milk Day.
That's my station. This must be why I liked the video, because I found a random blooper video that happened at Channel 3 where I work. I know that background. I know Erica. I know Jessica. It's our morning show. First off, you could hear the floor director laughing and that, or whoever's running teleprompter, one of the two, because those are the two jobs in the actual studio besides the anchors. And the fact that the B-roll runs out because they were laughing for too long, so it just paused right there. And they threw up a sky cam at the end because that was clearly the kicker. And after the kicker, that was the end of the show, clearly. And the two stories there with the two kickers, and you usually have weather at the very end as well. Actually, I don't really know the format of the morning shows, and I know that was a morning show, but I'm assuming weather's supposed to be at the end, but they clearly didn't have time because they spent the whole section laughing. And instead of saying like goodbye, so long, on a two-shot of them, they just cut to a sky cam and got out of there. And that's funny. I find that hilarious.
Police responded to reports of a bomb threat at the store in Wichita. A customer alerted employees. A man inside the bathroom said there was a bomb in the building. Police were able to locate the man responsible for those comments, and that man told police he warned other guests to leave the restroom because he was, quote, fixing to blow it up, but had no intention of causing a panic. Man also told police others in the room laughed, understanding his joke, which I'm just now getting. Home Depot says they will not be pressing charges. But I can tell you right now, you asked the producer for me to read that, didn't you?
Yes. That's a thing too, when you're writing stories that are kind of like, it's just funny. You need the anchor to be able to get through it without dying. You usually warn them about it. That, hey, this is fun. That's why that other one where this producer must have snuck in the funny line of the story and they did it on purpose to screw with the anchors. This kind of thing, you warn your anchors, hey, this story is hilarious. You're gonna struggle to not laugh, so here's a warning for you. And you try to give it to the anchor that you think, because you also assign the reads as a producer of who reads what story. And you try to give it to the anchor who you think will be able to get through it.
To Ethan now, please.
No.
Are we gonna have to go to a commercial?
No, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. All right, we can do this. All right. Turning now to an impassioned plea in a string of thefts.
And see, also another thing, that's why the producer should have put the bomb story at the end of her block or his block. So that way you go from them laughing or whatever about the funny story into a break, instead of them having to continue on and try to recover it while reading more stuff. So if I was stacking that show, I would have put the story that I knew was potentially going to make them lose it at the end of the block. Well, guys, so that was the end of that. I love news bloopers, man. They're the best. In conclusion, anything can happen in live news, obviously. But of course, we obviously try to do stuff to avoid that, to avoid the bloopers. That's the job, to try to make the show as clean and as good as possible. But those are always a bit more entertaining when they actually do happen, even though we're supposed to try to avoid them. Thinking about the producer behind the scenes having to deal with the bloopers and the things that are happening, it's gonna throw off your times because the anchors are probably struggling to get through stuff and they're taking up more time that then the producer is going to have to take from something else, either killing a story, cutting it out of weather, something to make up the time. So bloopers are hilarious, but they are a little bit of a pain for the producer to have to deal with, but it's not that big of a deal. I had fun doing this just because I got to watch news bloopers and I think it's hilarious. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If you liked this video, I have one similar type of thing where I'm reacting to the movie Anchorman. You can check that out. I'll put a link in the top of the screen for you. If you have any videos that you want me to make, that you want to see, let me know in the comments. I hope you have a